You've been in one place for so long, for 13 years, and I'm just wondering if you could describe what it's been like making this transition to a new team, a new part of the country.
This is definitely a huge change for me, especially being in Dallas for a while. And everybody knows how the business goes, and sometimes you got to leave. I'm just happy I'm going to be going to a team like the Jets to help out any way I can to help them, get to produce a winning culture.
Tyron, what appealed to you about the Jets?
I saw that what they can do as far as a team is, and everybody wants to win as any other team does. But I just feel like they have all the pieces together right now, and they can the final pieces in this offseason to produce a team that could go all the way. I've played against Aaron throughout my career a couple times, and I know what kind of quarterback he is. I know what he can do if you just give him a little bit of time. And I'm just there to do my best to give him that time.
Aaron, you've done pretty much everything a player could do in this league except go to a Super Bowl. I'm wondering how much of a void is that for you, and do you think that it can be filled here in New York?
I feel like New York definitely has a potential to do it, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to help them get to that point. But still early right now. We have a lot of things to establish as a team and be together to get together as a unit to get to that goal.
Tyron, what was this free agency process like for you? It seemed like it came together pretty quickly the day you signed. Like, how would you describe how that was?
I'm not gonna lie, it was like slightly stressful a little bit. Since I've never been in that spot before, I didn't know how to handle it, and it was just it went by for a week, but also it just felt like it was forever. But I'm just happy where I'm at right now. Just ready to get started.
Do you know Aaron well? And what do you think of him and some of the pieces on this offense right now?
I just honestly I know Aaron just from passing through and playing, of course, playing against him. But from what I know, he's just a guy who wants to win and very intelligent type of guy. And for me, for a guy who's been in the league for a long time, I still feel like I can learn a lot from him. So,
just kind of your thoughts on the rest of the offensive line.
I feel like the guys I know on the line that just like Aaron passing through. A good group of guys, guys who have experience under their belt, and I just feel like once we get together, get on the same page, I feel like there's gonna be some great things being done.
Tyron, were there other teams that you were talking to? There wasn't a lot reported about your free agency, which your agent kept it quiet, the teams kept it quiet. But were you talking to a lot of teams actively before you picked the Jets?
Honestly, I was letting my agent handle most of that stuff. I had a lot of other things going on at the time, but I just know my main options was either going to be in Dallas or the Jets. And for the way things were looking in Dallas, I knew it was most likely to be the Jets. And I honestly got excited for the new chapter in my life.
Follow up on that. You signed obviously a very heavy incentive-laden contract. I'm wondering if you could talk about that in terms of the amount of risk you're taking on, and what does it say about your mindset at this stage of your career to take on such a heavily incentivized contract?
Honestly, I'm just actually excited just to be on the team, to be able to have an opportunity to continue playing. But also, yes, the way my contract is it speaks for what happened, for what's been happening for the past couple of years. And honestly, I think it's a fair deal, and it's the same. I just got to go out there and prove that I can continue playing at the high level that they expect me to.
Tyron, when people kind of analyze you in free agency, it was no one questions your ability, right? And your resume, people talk about 33 years old. They talk about missing some games, in the last 4 years. Where are you physically? And I've heard that there was, in Dallas, you were kind of on a maintenance program in terms of how much you practice. Do you feel like that's what you need at this time of your career? Just can you talk about overall how you are physically and going forward?
Physically, I feel great. Coming off the season last year with no injury, I could go full tilt for off season. And honestly, wherever we decide to come up with a program for here and in New York, that's what we decide. But it's not going to be always to be the same. So, we'll sit down and come up with a plan for ourselves, what's best for for me and the team.
You had a good year last year, and I think you made second team All Pro. Given that, are you surprised that the Cowboys didn't make a stronger effort to keep you?
No, I'm, after being in this game for a long time, I just know that it's the way the business goes. And sometimes you keep guys, sometimes you keep guys, sometimes you can't. And it's just some guys got to move on. So, not surprised at all. And, just got to take it for what it's worth, and you end up where you need to be. So,
Tyron, you prepared to play the Jets last year in week 2. What do you remember about their defense, and what kind of impression did they make on you?
It was a hard front defense, very talented defense, and it was, as any other team, we had to prepare like it was, they're great defense as they are. It's just honestly, I don't know really much how to really put it, but they give us a hard time, and the way the league goes is where it's up and downs, but they proven themselves to be a top defense.
Tyron, what's the feeling for you as this is gonna be the first year you're not going to be showing up to camp in Texas? Like, what's that feeling like for you?
It's definitely going to be a difference. We was going to California for my whole career, but being in New York, honestly, I'd love to change, and I'm just going to embrace every step.
Talk about how the process came together with you and the Jets and your excitement.
Yeah, super excited to be a part of the organization. Obviously, it's free agency. There's temperature from different teams, but weighing out the situation, I thought that the Jets was the best fit to be able to come in and positively affect the team.
Tyrod, what do you think about this roster, the way it's being put together right now, too?
I love it. I've had the chance to go against the Jets 3 times in the last 2 years, practiced against them 2 years ago, then played them last year. And I've always had a lot of respect for the team, for the defense, for sure, because they create a lot of problems. But I think on offense, they're just as explosive, or we're just as explosive, and have playmakers across the board. And that's a lot of guys who can affect games in a big way, and looking forward to being able to get on the field with those guys and create plays.
Tyrod, do you know Aaron much? I'm sure you guys have crossed paths during some point in your careers, but do you know him at all?
No, I don't know him well. Just to talk to him pre-game and post-game of the times that we've been on the field together.
Tyrod, you were with the Chargers early in Mike Williams' career. What do you remember about those early days with Mike and what it was like playing with him back then?
Freak athlete. I've seen him do some crazy things in practice as well as in games. You hear often in the league about 50-50 balls, and we looked at it for him 80-20 because he came down with most of them. So I'm a big fan of Mike's. Glad to be back on the field with him again.
Rod, did the Giants show much interest in keeping you? And do you even have to move now in New Jersey? Could you just stay where you were?
Yes, first off, I don't have to move. I can stay where I am. I wasn't too far from the facility, but I drove last Thursday to the facility, and it wasn't too bad of a drive. I'm an early riser, so the time that I'll be on the road in the morning, traffic won't affect me. But yes, the Giants did show interest in retaining me. Just didn't work out on the business side, but it's nothing but respect for that organization, and wish them the best.
You kind of just touched on this, talking about playing the Jets the last couple of years, but last year with the Giants, this defense is similar. This year's defense on paper similar to last year's defense roster wise. What do you remember just kind of about game planning for them and the challenges they presented last year?
Fast flowing defense. Obviously up front they can get after the passer. Probably one of the best, if not the best, linebacker duo. Just how fast those guys are sideline to sideline, and very fast, and collective group on the back end. Obviously, the talent that you see in Sauce put all of those guys on the back end play cohesively and create problems. And I think you've seen that all throughout. Obviously, I've seen it in our game, but when you go back and look at the film, they created problems for everyone that they play against.
Tyron, you mentioned obviously Mike Williams. What about Garrett Wilson? What do you see from him? What do you think of him as a player?
A young talent that I've enjoyed watching last year. Excited to meet him. I haven't met him. Looking forward to being around him and pushing him and helping him be the best player that he could be.
What are your thoughts just overall about the offense as well?
I like it. I think I have a chance to be explosive. Like I said earlier, I think a lot of playmakers are on the offensive side of the ball. And as quarterbacks or as a quarterback, you get super excited when you look at a roster and see so many potential big plays.
Obviously Aaron's coming off a major injury. Do you anticipate having to take on a larger share of the load in the springtime through the OTAs as he gets his footing under, his bearings?
I don't know too much about timeline, but I can tell you that I'll be ready for whatever coach needs me to do and whatever I can do to help affect the team, like I said, in the best way possible. I think leadership as a whole has to be at a high in the quarterback room, and I think that's where the team responds. So looking forward to it if the opportunity presents itself to be able to take those snaps. But if not, still being able to affect and share my knowledge and still grow and learn the game.
There might have been more focus on backup quarterbacks last year than I can ever remember with how many played. You've been a starter backup in this league. Obviously, players want to play, but how do you view that role as the backup quarterback and kind of what your role is in that job?
It's challenging. Actually, I was talking to my quarterback coach while I was training earlier about something similar, but I think it takes a special person to be able to learn in this league without getting the reps. And I think last year some scenarios played out for some guys and some didn't, and it's just tough as a backup. Many factors go into it, but I've always approached my job and the way that I go about my way of work as if I'm the starter, and I think that keeps me in it mentally as well as physically. I still train each and every day as if I'm training to be able to go out and perform at a high level on Sunday. So there's a lot of factors that play into the success that you have when going in there and getting the calls, but you have to be ready for it. And I think that over my career, I've shown that when the opportunity presented itself, that I've been able to go out and play at a high level.
What is the toughest thing about being a backup quarterback?
Not getting the reps throughout the week. I've been in different scenarios or different teams where sometimes a backup quarterback gets reps and then some doesn't. And I think not getting the timing of the throws with certain guys and then getting on the field can be challenging at times. But like I said, it takes a special person to be able to learn and to still grow that game while not being able to get those physical reps.
I'm wondering, you were in New York last year, so I'm sure you were keeping an eye on maybe on the Jets, or you heard the chatter. Obviously, the backup quarterback story became a huge issue when Aaron got hurt so quickly, and they struggled with a couple of other backups. Can you appreciate just kind of the importance of your role coming into this team and knowing, that if something happens to Rodgers, that, everything falls on you, especially given what happened last year?
Each year is a new year. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, getting around the guys, learning different players that I've been fans of, supporting Aaron, but at the same time staying ready for when the opportunity is called, if it is called. And if not, like I said, still being able to affect. Obviously, a lot of guys, backups, got a chance to play last year. And like you said, it did speak to just the importance of it. But I also understand that it's a challenging job. But yeah, I'm prepared for it.
Tyrod, as a quarterback, when you see that Tyron Smith is your left tackle, what does that mean? What does that do for you?
It gives you comfort. Got a lot of respect for Tyron. And looking forward to playing with him. Obviously, you have a safety blanket over there to the left. He's been a hell of a player for a lot of years. So we look forward to being protected on the left side with him.
You've been through a lot of different offenses. are there similarities with what Hackett does to somewhere you've been before?
Yes, it is. And we briefly talked about it last week when I was in the office. But yes, there's a lot of similarities to a couple of previous offenses I've been a part of.
Wondering if you could just describe your relationship from Saleh, which obviously began in San Francisco, and how much of an impact that had on you ending up here.
Of course, Saleh played a big part in drafting me in 2020, and I always loved his energy, loved being around him, because I could tell he really believed in me when I was in a spot where I just felt like I didn't believe in myself. So I kind of banked on that going into free agency, and I was just super glad that we was able to get it done.
Javon, what else about the Jets appealed to you in free agency?
Just the scheme, of course. The scheme is similar to San Francisco. Probably the only thing, a little terminology, and of course, Wycott was our assistant D-line coach my rookie year, so that was a big role as well. Always loved him as well. Always looked up to reaching out to him and learning how I could get better and things like that. So it's just like a full circle moment for me. And I also love just the place that the facility and all those things are in, because I'm a big outdoors guy. Looks like an outdoors place.
If you could describe your career, the trajectory of your career, it looked like this past year things came together for you. It might have been your best year. I'm wondering if you could walk us through it, how you had some struggles and got to this point.
Yeah, I just dealt with a lot of things I couldn't control. The way I got hurt, the injuries and things like that, I had no control over, how all that happened. But the things I did control, my work ethic. I came to work every single day, no matter how it looked for me. And anybody will tell you that. I kept a positive attitude through it all. And in times where I had some of my darkest moments, God pulled me through. And, that's kind of what last year was like for me. Last year was my first year playing every single game. I never missed a practice, never missed anything. And it just happened because I put so much into it, and from what I get out of this thing is every year you go into this thing, you got to put a little bit more effort into what you bring into the table come training camp. And that's kind of how it happened for me. That's why this past year was kind of my best year, because I got to play. I ultimately got to stack a game on top of a game, and I got better every single game. And that wasn't because, everything was fine. It was because of what I put into the game and the things that I learned through injury. So that was ultimately how it looked for me. And I'm just excited to see what a second year under my belt is going to look like, knowing how to be a pro, knowing how to take care of myself, so.
Javon, you guys came as close as possibly could in San Francisco to winning a Super Bowl. You're about 6 weeks removed. I mean, how much does that game still bother you, and how much does it fuel you? That you came close to tasting the ultimate prize.
Well, for me, brother, I just look at it differently. I felt so blessed just to be there. Of course, I was hurt that we lost, but I was so overwhelmed by just being blessed to be in that situation. And as I sat down after we lost, I just couldn't believe that I actually made it that far. Looking at my life, I never thought I'd amount to anything of where I am right now. So it was just a blessing, man. And to know what it takes to get to that level, it is amazing. It's amazing. I just thank God for being able to put me in that position, to know what it takes to be able to get to that position.
What do you see as your role? Can you play multiple spots, I'm assuming, on the defensive line? And do you see yourself coming in as a potential starter, or how do you see it?
I'm just here to get in where I fit in, man. I don't even pay attention to all that stuff, man. I'm just looking forward to getting in with a young, hungry group, and just a bunch of ball players all across the field, offense, defense. I'm just looking forward to getting in with the guys. That's it. I'm not worried about starting. I'm not worried about anything like that.
Do you know Quinnen Williams at all, Javon?
Yeah, we spoke a few times before all this, like even just being in the league, you know, knowing good ball players, seeing him play at Alabama. I was always a super fan of his, like a big fan. Um, even though he's not that much older than me, I'm always like, you know, in admiration of guys who play the game at a high level and everything that he brings to the table. And I talked to him once all this happened, and you know, he seems like a great guy. You know, again, I just can't wait to get in and pick his brain about certain stuff because I'm always looking to get better.
You said you're an outdoorsy type person. What does that mean exactly? And do you think you'd be able to fulfill that or satisfy that in a place like New Jersey?
I mean, most as long as I get to pick up a fishing pole, I'll be cool. You know, but I like to fish. I like to hunt. You know, ride dirt bikes, four wheelers, that type of stuff. You know, I like to be outside. You know, that's just my thing.
Javon, I might be off on the timing here, but I think was Solomon Thomas still with San Francisco when you got there?
Yes, sir.
What what was your relationship like with him? I'm sure he was kind of one of the older players when you got there, and are you looking forward to playing with him again?
Yeah, Solly, that's my boy. We talk a few times here and there, but he's a great guy, exceptional guy, heck of a human being, and he's a great football player as well. And everything that he brings to the table, I also look forward to learning from him as well. You know, the time that we played together was short because I think he got injured my rookie year, probably like the third game into the season. But yeah, man, I look forward to getting back in with him and continuing to grow the relationship.